Welcome back to Procrastination Podcast. We talk about anime life and everything in between. My name's Matt.
I'm Robert.
I'm Alonzo.
And we're back today after a long while. Apologies for the long wait. But we're back with an interesting topic. And, we saw a couple of you guys, hopefully at Anime Ocean City a couple weeks back. And really nice meeting a lot of you guys, most people for the first time. And reconnect with a couple of people as well. It was a good time. So we posted a bunch of those pictures already. So look at the Instagram if you haven't already. We got all the pics posted. Everything, I think it's maybe one picture I haven't posted because I need to edit it. But everything else posted, and we're getting the interviews out. I promise it's coming. But before that, we're going to make this episode. But we're going to keep it interesting. But yeah, quick reflection on Anime Ocean City. Anything y'all want to say about it? It was a good time, I thought.
Yeah. Good time. I think our opinions going in were that it was going to be very, very small, and it turned out way bigger than we expected. We got a lot of good pictures, a lot of good interactions, a lot of good conversations. So I had a good time.
Yeah, Ocean City itself, the city is really crazy. Felt like weed the entire time. But hey, at least if you got it, you know what I'm saying? But the convention, yeah, like Robert said, it was bigger than I expected.
Right.
A whole lot of friendly people, people we've met before and people we haven't met before, just so friendly, inviting. So it was a great experience.
Yeah. It was a good amount of marijuana, but we met in Norfolk. We used to that, so ain't no thing. But yeah, like everyone's already said, way bigger than expected, more people than expected, livelier than expected. Even it was a separate podcast to talk about the trip down. But I mean, it was a good time when we get down there after the trials and tribulations we went through to get down there. And an interesting night the night before, as well. And but yeah, nice hotel stay. The hotel room was enormous. My God, I felt like a king in there. Like that was the biggest hotel room I've ever been in my life. Positive about that, and it was really nice place. Had some good eating. Like I said, I met some really, really cool people. We enjoyed meeting you guys out there, and hopefully you guys subscribe too. If not, you fake non-plan. But no, we really enjoyed meeting a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys interact with us on the Instagram and stuff too. So yeah, we've enjoyed it. We enjoyed it a good time. We had a good time and enjoyed the cosplaying part of it too. A lot of really nice cosplays, a lot of first time cosplays for me. Saw a Zombie 100 cosplay for the first time, which I was like, finally, and I think one of my first from Fire Force. That was the other one that I was like, come on, how is no one cosplaying Fire Force right now? And she came with the heat. Literally, figuratively, and yeah,
the context and everything,
right? I don't think she could see, but but she was dedicated. You gotta appreciate the dedication people showed out there to the craft, and like I said, it was just a good time on so many great conversations. People excited to talk. I mean, we've never had such a wealth of people wanting to do the interviews. It was a good time. Like it was hard to start turning people away at the end. So it was a good time. But yeah, one thing that I think we enjoyed the most, besides meeting all the people, was just some people just sharing their experiences in general and the words of wisdom, and almost like Sensei-esque, and that's kind of what we're talking about today is who would you want to be your sensei if you were an anime character? Or just in your life in general, who would you want as your sensei? And repping Black. Also, Black Kami, met them out there, repping them really quick. Because we'll of course have to mention one of the great senseis from anime near dear to every anime lover's heart, DBZ. So, but yeah, so many options to pick from, and I tried to narrow it down a little bit, but everybody has their preferences. Not one sensei is alike. Everyone has their quirks that match me a little better or worse with you. So I don't know how you guys found it challenging or not, looking into the breadth of options to pick your Sensei?
Yeah, I think that I was trying to go through my like top 10, and I was like, okay, let me go. I'm gonna pick some from my top 10 because I mean, so much of that was good. So much of that had some good sensei, some good training arcs and stuff like that. And but I found it really hard still. That I was like, oh man, this show, like, I mean, Naruto, you know what I mean? So many good choices in Naruto. So many, that's how I felt about a lot of them. So yeah, but I think it was good. Good topic.
Yeah, I didn't struggle at all because if you know me, you already know what my first one is. So it's probably going to come to no surprise. Second one, I kind of went off the script, but I still think I chose somebody who would be very good in real life to help me, accept myself, become a better person, and just be that dude,
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, like it's just such a it really depends on what you want because there's and what kind of person you are because the different ways they go about teaching are so different for all of them. For anyone you want to pick, there's some that are more hands on, some that are way hands off, right? And there's some that just watch from a distance, and there's some that are like always every day keep you regimented and are on top of you. And there's some that are just like super coddling, caring, right? And there's some that are just like throw you into the fire. and I mean, it's like, it depends on how you feel like you're going to learn and how you feel like you could really, really prepare yourself adequately for whatever it is that your goal is. Because it also depends on your goal. Because each of these senseis kind of has them working. Everyone's working towards obviously being better, but it's like the aspect in which they're trying to get better. It varies a lot. So that also was something I thought about when I was picking. But yeah, let's get right into it. I mean, so Alonzo, you already kind of mentioned your first one is predictable, but let's see what you got. Number one, who's number one sensei?
All right,
for Senpai.
Well, number one, like I got to go with my boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Reagan from Mob Psycho 100. I'm going back to the Mob well once again because that well just provides the essence of life. It's good stuff. First of all, like he's just a regular Joe like me. He can win rock paper scissors all the time. I don't know why, but he's a regular Joe like me. We're just regular people. He's living in a paranormal world. But I admire his ability to lie and his ability to have the greatest words of advice in the history of mankind, So he combines those perfectly. Like, because sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. And he embodies that. Because, I mean, his words even help save his world in a way.
True.
Because if Mob didn't have his teachings, who knows what would have happened to the world, to Mob. Things could have went sideways quick. So Reagan is the guy that I just love the way he goes about things, and I think he would be a pretty good teacher to me. Because I remember one of his sayings, one of his quotes was that to Ma was that it's okay to run away when things go south. Because when you take the world on your shoulders, it's only going to make you suffer. And I'm glad I remember that because it helps me put things in perspective in my own life. Because I remember one day last year, I had a bad day at work. I was putting too much pressure on myself. I was being hard on myself, and also ended up with me erupting in front of my coworkers, getting in trouble, being reprimanded, and me just suffering because of it. And I should have just took the time to just step back, relaxed, step away and say, hey, I can just not necessarily run away, but just step back and take a look at the bigger thing as a whole and just calm down and get through it without, letting my emotions get the best of me like Mob would have, like 100% Mob. That's how I went. So it was something I should take into account in my life. So Reagan, he changes people's lives for the better. He changed Mob's life for the better. And I remember he even hyped up Mob one time when Mob said he was a nobody. Reagan was like, nah, bitch, you're Mob, the student of Reagan. the star of the paranormal world. And I was like, that's some cool stuff to be able to hype up your student that doesn't have the self-confidence like that, and to recognize that their potential, their talent, and they go about teaching them, hyping them up, just being there for them no matter what. Even in season 3 at the end, he was the guy, he was the last guy there, the final boss. Like, he was the one that Mob had to talk to in order to come back to normal. And Reagan is just that, like, he's just the sensei of life, you know? He makes life more enjoyable. And, you know, even with his bullshitting, he displays that undeserved confidence, but it is deserved in a way. Like, he kind of just, he talks that talk, walks that walk. Even though he's childish at times, I mean, I'm childish too. So I feel like we would mesh well together. So I just got to go with my boy Reagan. He deserves more respect as a top tier sensei. That's all I got to say.
Well, you said a lot. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I got a lot of that from watching the show too, and yeah, you know, that's what I want to see, and you'll see this in some of the picks that I have too. Is that I want to have a laid back sensei, but that also is there for you in the big moments, right? It's like, and that's how Reagan was too. It's like, yeah, he's like, most of the time he was just like, I'm just trying to chill. We do this on the side, we do, you know. But then when the times get tough, he's there still, right? And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Reagan, top tier sensei for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think for most people, an orthodox pick, because you know, a lot of what you see is like what you said: the lion, the tall tales, the over exaggeration of his strength and power and might and importance. But in a way, it's almost I don't know, it's almost Kanye-esque. Is what I want to say. Like, it's like he has this confidence above confidence in himself, even when no one else believes in him. Right? He's like, it don't matter what nobody else believes. I know I'm great. Like, even if I gotta fake it till I make it, I'm gonna be great. And it's like that level of belief to have in yourself, and then to instill that into someone else is like life changing, especially for someone like Mob, who, you know, again, the wrong influence. I mean, he's all the way left, all the way left, and the whole world is going to pay for it. So, I mean, it's, and he could have done that too. He could have, like, because, you know, he kind of took advantage of Mob a little bit, you know, in the first seasons or so, but really, he could have taken like this a way worse, you know, angle, you know, as an adult, you know, and he really just, more than anything, he kind of reeled him in than anything, and then making him do all these super extravagant things, right? So, because most of the time he was just doing, you know, like F level missions, basically, like, you know, exterminate this basic ad ghost or you know, whatever, and you know, things he could have done in his sleep, basically. So it's like he really reeled him in, and like you said, kind of brought that calming environment and acceptance, self-acceptance to him and his role in society too, right? Like, and he's like, okay, like, this is what I can do, even though I'm a little, you know, different than everyone else. I can still do something that's important, impactful, and then he works on, you know, building his also self-confidence and all those sorts of things. And I think that is definitely the sign of a good sensei. Is like, even though others may not see it, the person that he's, you know, directly working with is benefiting greatly, even when they don't. It's not obvious to themselves or everyone else, right? Because I don't think, you know, Mob really understood how important those words were until he really needed them, right? And that's when they showed, and that's, I think, the sign of a really good sensei. So I did appreciate that one. So yeah, good pick, solid pick.
My first one is also pretty obvious for me,
Yeah.
and it's Kuro Sensei from Assassination Classroom. Yeah, and yeah, I think similarly. I mean, it feels like he's like, I don't know. I keep doing this like almost surrogate father thing, Like if you get a surrogate father figure, they end up being top tier fucking senseis, right? It's like they care about not only that you train and get strong and do, get what you need in terms of, your skills, but also care about your life and, make sure that you're in a happy place, a calm place, there too. And that's what was probably like the most, impactful thing to me about that show was that so so many characters in there, and he cared. It seemed like he cared about everyone individually. Like, I want to make sure your skills grow, your particular skill, grows in that direction, and I care that your life is headed in this positive direction. Otherwise, right? It's like, yeah, I want you to be assassin. I want you to make sure you can, you're a sniper. I want to make sure your sniper skills are good, but I also want to make sure that, have you found love? Kind of thing. Like, this man is like,
Right,
seriously doing all of that while also being pretty laid back otherwise, because like
right.
there's times where it seems like everybody's like, no, we should be trying to kill you, and he's like, no, today's a relax day. Let's chill today. Let's go to the beach.
Yeah,
But like, yeah. So it to me it felt like, main things were he figure out what your what your major skill is, and he nurtures that skill, right? Which is true for so many senseis, but like Kuro Sensei did that really well, especially with how many characters that were around there, actually caring about your well-being, making sure actually acting like the father figure, and then and then he was also, I'm just saying, he's probably one of the strongest,
beings
of all time, right? Yeah, because
Right.
again, he was like, going to, United States and back in half a second or whatever. He's the man's going faster than speed of light. This man's crazy. And the kicker is that he's teaching these people life lessons. Forget about skill lessons. He's teaching them life lessons. He's like, all right, I want to make sure that you're turn out to be a good person, especially with these people who have backgrounds that are terrible. He was like, yeah, my dad beats me every single day.
Right.
I wake up with, I got to stitch myself every morning, and he comes and he's like, look, they're good people. You need to also be a good person. And yeah, that was super impactful. And so that's why Kuro Sensei is my number one, always the GOAT.
Yeah, Kuro Sensei, he is the GOAT. And I would take this back to like real life teachers that care about you, that care about your well being, that take an interest in you, try to develop your skills. Even if you're a problem child like I was, like growing up, I didn't have a father. I acted out. I had anger issues. Like having a teacher to help you, guide you through that and be a resource for you. That's a real great relationship to have. So even like in real life, like public schools, like teachers, we salute you. You guys do a great job. You're not getting paid enough, but man, y'all do a great job. But going back to the surrogate father thing, yeah, I didn't have a father. I don't know what it's like to be a father, but taking on that responsibility for yourself on other people, that's a great thing to do.
Yeah, I actually have like similar to what you're saying about public school. I mean, like one of the major things that like I feel like that got me into the place that I am now was, there's a high school teacher who was like saw me in physics class like in sophomore year, and he was like, all right, so you going to college, right? And I was like, I'm going to the military, man. Like I know what I'm doing. My parents, they've been talking about the military every day. He's like, no, but you're smart. I was like, what do you mean? Okay. And then he told me to take his AP physics class next year. And I did that. And then he helped me apply for college and get everything set up and everything. Like, man was truly helped me align my, an angel there for that reason. But
I had a similar teacher that Miss Jones, she was white also. Like Miss
Yeah, he
Jones.
was white. Greg Williams, he was white.
Yeah, Williams, White Williams and White Jones. Okay, all right, that's what's up.
Right.
But no, man, yeah, like you said, same thing. I was like, I was like hesitant on medicine, and I was taking her it was like just like health science 1 or med 1 class in high school, and I was like, this is hard. And she's like, well, she's like, oh, I think you can really get this. I was like, everyone's telling me to make a backup plan. Don't try and do medicine or whatever. And she's like, don't try and be a doctor or whatever. And she was like, yeah. I was like, well, she's like, yeah, well, I don't think, you need to. She's like, I think you can really make it, in medicine. And I don't think you need to go and like do military or anything else, I was like, all right. And I was like the first person. So many people before that told me like, despite I didn't have bad grades or anything. I wasn't straight A's. So I didn't have bad grades. And it was just like, everybody was like, no, don't bother. She's the person who be like, you can do this. And then like put me in position to like meet people that were in medicine she made me be president of like the medicine group. She's like, no, you need to be president. Like, you ain't doing nothing. Go be president. I was like, I'm playing soccer. Really, dude. No, you got time. So I was like, so yeah, like she really pushed me. And until this day, I need to go back and find her. She's not at that school anymore. I went back like a few years after into college. She wasn't there anymore. She didn't die, I think, because she had left because the school was terrible. So the school was awful, and it was just getting worse and worse as the classes graduated. So, yeah, but I think the school's better now. But it was at the time anyway. So yeah, but getting back to Kuro Sensei, yeah, I think like you said, the father figure thing, I think is important for a lot of people that need it. Like when you're having that negative connotation of what a father is, and you have people growing up. I mean, similar kind of what Alonzo's saying. Like, it's difficult to know how to be a father if you don't have a father figure or you don't have a good father figure. It's like, okay, beating's probably beating my kid to a pulp, probably not good. But that's your only blueprint, right? Just don't beat the crap out of your kids. All right, well, the rest of it's still a mystery, So I think that's really, really, really underrated, especially as I can't remember if they did a time skip or I'm making this up, but I know they got older as the show went along, and they definitely matured into like more and more responsible and more compassionate, caring people and more thoughtful people as before by the end of the anime. I think that's another big testament to like whatever sensei that you're having, is that he's able to make a long change in your life, right? Not just like, leading you to the water, but teaching you the path to get to the water, teaching you how to use the water, how to save the water, really make the most out of whatever time that you have here and whatever time he has with you. So I did really like that part of it. And again, it's really weird in the Assassination Classroom because he is meant to be their enemy.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdest part. Is like he's meant to be against them, and he's still more for them than the people that are supposed to be for them. And that is the saddest part about it, but also the most wonderful dichotomy about that show. That's what makes it so good. That's why everyone needs to watch it. Go watch that ish. If you didn't watch it, something wrong with you. No, I'm playing. Go watch it for us. It's really good. But yeah, I kind of stuck with a similar-ish thing as a father figure sort of guy for my first sensei that I would pick. And there's another classic, and it's Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z. Because only because of Montel. But shout out to him. But no, really, because Master Roshi, for one, is like the first big sensei we saw in anime. At least I saw in anime for sure. And then for two, it's like he raises or trains basically the most important anime figure in the world. Like, let's be real. Even casuals know Goku. Even people that don't know anime at all know Goku, right? Goku is household, right? So he trained this man who's arguably, we're not going to do this debate here, the strongest being in anime in his universe for sure, right? Or at least one of them in his universe. I don't know how that the new stuff threw me, so I don't know about the new stuff. but yeah, so he trains him, and it starts from a young child. He's training other people as well, Krillin, Yamcha, all those other people, right? And And I think what's most notable and kind of what I was thinking back to when you think about the Dragon Ball times, right, is that he trains them not only in just like technique, Kamehameha, obviously, and basic kind of like physical stamina training, all those sorts of things, the basics, gets some really solid fundamentals, right? But then he also teaches them like reading, writing, arithmetic, like basic life things, right? Like he doesn't just limit it to fighting. He gets into them understanding like and having at least a baseline understanding and knowledge base to function in the world. Especially knowing Goku is literally not from here. So it's like he gives them at least a fighting chance to be normal people. And he never forces them to be like, all right, you got to fight because you're strong, right? He never puts that in them, right? He literally has a quote. I can't remember exactly how I need to pull. I have it up, but anyway, I think it's something like basically like talking about the turtle way or something like that. And here it is: move well, study well, play well, eat well, rest well. And that's the turtle master way. And it's like, that is balance, right? He teaches them balance from like childhood, right? And that is so important. And that's the thing most people lack. And I really had to figure out growing up. And I feel like most people had to figure out growing up is like how to balance your life. And he teaches them from the get, like, this isn't just about running till you're dead or training and punching the punching bag until you can't anymore, till your knuckles are bleeding. It's also about resting in a way that's going to allow you to recover properly so that you can be at your best the next day, that you're eating the proper things, that you're recovering fully mentally and physically, and that you're also studying, not just the hand-to-hand stuff, but the actual reading and learning of the technique and understanding what you're doing, and then the basics of everything that's going on, right? So you're not just this fighting machine in a world that's not all about fighting, right? And I think that is not really looked at for a lot of people. Everyone's just thinking about Kamehameha, right? And it's like, but he teaches them how to be human, right? And to be functional members of society if they don't want to fight. And a lot of them, Krillin and them, they end up taking time away and being normal people. And imagine they never learned, reading, writing, math. How you gonna be a normal person? You can't read, or do addition. It's gonna be hard, right? So yeah, I think that's one of the cool things. So all of his students are parents, except I don't know Yamcha and the WAP. Yamcha gotta get his ish together. but everyone else, I think Krillin, Goku, both students, that are both parents now, and so yeah, they needed to know other things, outside of just the basic stuff and how to fight, and he taught them that. So I thought that was a really cool thing that he did, and he's obviously again started up the most famous fighter in anime history.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. Like giving somebody so many fundamentals that, and still you can see them to this day bringing up some of the same stuff that he, original kind of like, by the way, I can add my fundamentals into this new thing that I've unlocked, and now here's this plus that, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's everlasting, So yeah, I definitely agree with that. It seems to be a big impact and make these characters out to be like some of the well-rounded, but also the strongest,
right.
On the planet. So it's hard to not say that Master Roshi didn't do something right.
Right. Facts.
Yeah, Master Roshi, I agree with you. He was like the first like sensei I saw in anime. So he was the original teacher, the original guy that got the hero going. And yeah, he was really, really cool dude, getting all the Z-Fighters like trained up, well-rounded. I will take a shot at Floyd Mayweather that you can just have all the power in the world and not be able to read, write, do math. Anyway, I'm stopped now. Master Roshi was that guy, even with his pervy antics. He was really truly, even in his own right, he was a powerful person. Like you didn't want to take him on, so he was that dude.
Right, and I think the other thing that I liked about him is that he trained humans, right? Like regular. Besides Goku, we know Goku ain't he is saying, but everyone else, it was normal humans. So look at Krillin, look at Yamcha, look at those guys compared to other normal humans. They will give you the business. Like, say what you want to about Yamcha fighting the Cybermen and all that ish. I mean, he got surprised. He won the first fight. The dude just surprised him with the self destruct. I'm just saying, if it was a self destruct, you wouldn't even be alive, bro. At least Yamcha was technically. I mean, he was fetaled, but he was alive, I think. So like, I'd be dead. You know what I'm saying? So Master Roshi at least gets you trained up to where you can beat pretty much every human, right? And now you can actually compete with now otherworldly beings as a normal human. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like Master Roshi having that ability, like to make me that much superior, in my physical capabilities to every other human being. I'll take that all day. Take that all day, dude.
That's a good point.
Oh yeah, I don't know. You got something to follow that one up, Alonzo?
I do. And like I mentioned earlier, it's very unorthodox, even more unorthodox than Reagan. I went rogue with this one, but I picked somebody who didn't necessarily serve as a sensei in their story, but I wanted to choose Himmel the Hero from Frieren. And massive spoilers ahead if you haven't watched Frieren, which is a goated show. You should watch it. I'm just saying, season 1 was fucking peak story. But Himmel was that guy. He had dashing good looks. He was the leader of the party that defeated the Demon King. And in my eyes, he was an all-around goated Riz master. Like, he just had charisma out the ass. The man only started his journey to be a hero because of Frieren, and he wasn't even a true hero. Like, the man, like, he couldn't pull out the story's version of Excalibur, but he was still like, nah, I'm the hero in my mind, and I ain't about to lose face in front of Frieren. And so he continued to be that hero and defeated the Demon King. So, lo and behold, my man, with the help of his team, of course, went and defeated the Demon King. He even helped out people along the way who's others were like, why are you wasting your time helping every single person out? Like, no, he was like, this is my way. Like, I got to help people in need. That was some cool shit. So I need a sensei like that to teach me to be the best version of myself, no matter what, and to be able to unselfishly help my fellow man, and of course to learn how to be the Riz God, because he was just risen up Frieren. Like, I was just like, if she weren't so dense, like, they would have had 15 babies. They would have. I mean, my God. Like,
I guess she do.
He was just the coolest dude around. So him was my guy.
Yeah, I am surprised at that choice, but I also agree a lot with that. That it's like, so we don't realize in the story is that the story does not. It seems like it's a story about these new group of characters and them living their life, but it's actually a story of just influence of Himmel, like or and his team that has gone down the line and now all the way down to this new group who they've never met him, but every single one of their interactions is somehow influenced by them and that other group. So and including all the like you said, all the Good Samaritan things that they do for no other reason other than it's because Himmel did that, and because of his charisma, it has influenced everyone to just want to be good like him, and I agree that's untouched, I think, as a character like that in anime in general. So good pick.
Interesting pick. I mean, I have to finish Frieren still, but I'm impressed by the story, to be honest. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. I think it's good. It's not great to be. But anyway, I digress. I think him as a character, from what I've seen thus far, a very admirable person. And I think he has like the hero traits, right? Like, but he's obviously been through things to understand his the limitations and the risks that comes with that behavior too, right? And I think that's the one big thing that a lot of heroes in anime don't have. They don't understand the risk and limitations of having that, and he still does the things despite knowing that, right? Which is the most admirable part about that, right? You know there's risk, you know there's negativity that comes with it, and you still do it anyway. That's great. And I think that would be the most important thing he could impart on people like me, you, and anyone else is like, okay, how you can still focus on being the best you and giving the world, putting the good you want to put into the world, but still, not putting yourself in a position to feel so hurt or betrayed when things don't go the way that you necessarily want, even in the short term, and just still sticking to your guns and being that person that you feel like you should be, no matter what else is going on. I think that is something that would be super, super helpful for, I think, every human being on the planet to know how to do. And maybe we'd have more people still doing good and less people starting to scam you. All right, I'm still salty about my day. But really.
Okay, and then my other one. So I wanted to pick another one that was on my top, but before I get there, right? So I was trying to see like all these different series, right? And I was like, let me scroll on my top 10, so just so you can feel how I was like, all right, number one is Naruto. So I was like, I got to pick somebody from Naruto, but there's so many good ones. I was like, and there's some that, but it's like, it's like it depends on what you want, right? And that will be a good sensei. It's like, oh, you want power? Then yeah, maybe you want to talk to like Jiraiya or even Orochimaru in some cases, but like, or like third Hokage or whatever, right? They're the power people, right? And then it's like, well, there's like, people who are about like health and stuff, right? And there's people that are like tactical, like about the brain stuff. And this ended up being the one that I was thinking about the most, because I was like, I don't know, like, even if I was in this thing, I wouldn't want to be the upfront. I wouldn't be the front of the line in Naruto in the middle of a war, right? I want to be in the back in the in the castle, coming up with tactics and stuff, right?
Right.
So I was like, who is the one that really influenced the most tacticians? And I was like, I think it's Asuma. That he was the one who helped Shikamaru get like realize his potential, but also Ino and Choji aren't to play with either in terms of their own tactics by themselves. I'm like, yeah, them three as a team is insane. and I think the reason why is because is Asuma saw that and it was just like, no, you guys are going to just think. That's all I want you guys to do. You don't have the limit of your powers much. All three of you have insane powers. So all you have to do is just think about how to use them, and that's all I want. And it worked. And I'm like, anyways. So Asuma is definitely my next pick. So I think in general, he single-handedly is built the biggest brains, I think, in Naruto. I feel I like Shikamaru. I don't know. It's hard to me to put him second, right? And then again, their team to me felt like the most like connected out of any of them. Like Naruto's groups, like Team 7. To me, it just felt like, all right, we got strong people and someone who's going to heal. Like, that's it. And we go throw hands and period.
That's a super team. That's just a super team, man. That's not
You got two giant, powerful moves coming at you. If you dodge one, you get hit with the other one. Like, that's it. Like, and yeah, so it never to me felt like it was, it was about the tactics. It was just about, showing your muscles. And but Ino Shikacho, that felt like there's only one person doing damage. There's only one person doing real damage. I mean, Shikamaru could do some damage. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he fucked up old dude, right? But but still, it feels like Choji's the only one really doing any damage. Right. So it's like, all right, how do we get him to get to be in the best position for the biggest attack that he could do, And anyways. But also the thing, like we said before, surrogate father, it felt like for Shikamaru. Mm-hmm. And in general, he was super laid back too, right? And that's what, like, I was looking up some stuff on him, and that's what people were saying. It's like generally speaking, he was the most like laid back out of all the senseis. Like he was not so much hands on, right? He was just like, all right, you guys figure out the best way to attack me. Right. It's similar to what Kakashi did a little bit, but I think you were saying even more so. And obviously, spoiler alert, but just like any other senseis, man, he's there for you. So he would die for any one of his students, and he did.
Right.
You know,
this is facts.
There's that too. And all right, I'm gonna bring up this point, right? So bro was fighting with brass knuckles, right? And he was smoking Newports. Bro was, you know, bro was kind of black, right? Like,
that's facts. You know, and then the only group with a nickname. You know what the right full names, bro.
I'm just saying. Bro was, he was trend-setting,
right?
And it was good. So, goated, one of my favorites out of the Naruto characters. So, awesome.
That is surprising because, like, from what I remember, he wasn't in the story much. All I remember about him was that he bagged what's her name, Kurenai. He was fine, and then like he was beating up all the Akatsuki. Fortunately, he lost his life. That's all I remember about the dude. But he was still cool, smoking them cigs, playing. I think it was shogi with Shikamaru, just being chill with him, like not teaching him like how to be a bruiser or anything. Just teaching them life lessons, like what are you meant to protect, and that's what Shikamaru had to learn about. So I don't remember much about him, but I do remember him just being that cool guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, bag the baddie. I mean, so that's first off. You know what I'm saying,
right?
And then again, like you said, just Shikamaru had a dad, had a good dad, but he's like it was a different kind of figure for him, you know, and some things because I think I want to recall his dad had like an important job in the whole government body, so he wasn't around much.
Tacticians,
right. So dad wasn't around much in the early show. I think we didn't even see his dad really till Shippuden. So like, you know, so it was a lot of Asuma taking up that role for a bit, especially in the absence of his dad, in you know him being busy, whatever else he was doing, and then I think again, just as a character, I think you are similar to Shikamaru, so it would fit really well for you in that role as his you know pupil. So I was like, that'd be perfect. I mean,
right.
I don't really know like what character from Naruto would be a better fit for you as a sensei than him. And so I think that would be perfect. And like you said, like, you know, just overall good dude, sacrificed everything for his pupils. And I mean, at the end of the day, always stuck to his guns about the things he said were important and defended them with everything on the line. And so, I mean, again, you can't, he leads by example. He does he backs everything up with actions, and he says the right things when it's needed to, but he also is hands off when needed too. So I think, like you said, he raised a really good team, you know, and I think he might be, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of people in the show where like they passed away and you showed a lot of like a full team being sad, right? Like Jiraiya passed away, people were sad, right? It wasn't like the full, you know, it's just Naruto really. That was really, really sad, right? And you know, I think Tsunade was a little sad, right? But it's like, you know, when Asuma passed away, like it was like their team was hit hard, right? And obviously his girl Kurenai was hit hard, you know. And then you see again in just the legacy that he leaves with Shikamaru, and Shikamaru stepping up and helping Kurenai with like the pregnancy and stuff like that too in the show, which is like, again, speaks to how good a sensei, like this man steps up and helps take care of the child of, you know, a man that's not even related to him, That shows he must be a dang good, sensei, especially for a guy like Shikamaru who do not like work.
Right.
That man do not like work, and he gonna put on the most work. Children are the most work a person can have, and he took on that for that man's legacy. So it must have been really impactful. So I think that's a really, really good one. But I got an even better one. Nah, nah, but I mean, one also from Naruto, but that resonates with me, and one I didn't think I was gonna pick until I just was thinking, and I changed my mind. I had a different one, and I changed my mind kind of not last second, but close to last second, and it's Might Guy.
That was my second. That was right next to it.
Because I was like, man, this guy. Like, the more I thought about it, I'm like, this dude is the perfect sensei, especially for a guy like me, right? Like, and there's a couple of points, but the first point is like, again, simple point, similar to Master Roshi. He trains you in things that normal people can do. Normal people can do what he does, right? He's talking about hand to hand. He can teach hands, and anyone can learn hands if you're dedicated enough. And that's what he's gonna teach you, hands. So that's the first thing, is I can do it in real life. It translates to the real world. I can go out here, have elite hands. I got Mike Tyson punches and Bruce Lee kicks. I'm out here, MMA superstar, boxing on the weekends as a side job and still winning belts. Like, that's how good you be hands-wise after you finish with Mike Guy. So that's the first thing, right? You get elite hands from working with this man as your sensei, right? But then the second thing is his emotion. The emotion that men are not allowed to feel, in not just the ninja world, right? But you talk about in our world, like, men aren't supposed to feel a lot of these strong emotions, right? And he embraces those things, and he encourages you to feel those things, and he doesn't just encourage you to feel them. He's right there next to you while you're feeling them, and that, I think, is something that you can't find a lot of people, period, that'll do that for you. Friend, father, brother, a lot of people, period, won't do that for you, right? Will truly share your super strong and negative or positive emotions with you and be right there with you and feel it just as much as you're feeling it, like that level of empathy. And he has that, especially for, his team. And I think that is the thing that stood out some of the most for me, is like, he lets you feel that spectrum of emotions, right? He doesn't tell you to suppress your emotions, right? But to an extent, right? He lets you feel them, but then he tells you to use them, in a way that's conducive to your progress. So I think that him allowing emotion is such a difference from a lot of other senseis in anime, and where he's just like, okay, like, you're having this time, feel that, right? Feel that, but don't let that overcome you, right? And he just lets you be human, right? And again, I think that's just such a rare thing, and I feel like, he it's just something that I would appreciate, right? Like, okay, he's not just like, okay, you master a skill and you're happy, right? He lets you have that, right? Like, there's so many senseis, like, I've been talking about this one a little bit. Genkai from like Yu Yu Hakusho is like, oh, you master skill, like, you were supposed to master that yesterday anyway, though. So get it, let's go. Like, right? Like, you don't let you even have your victories, right? So he lets you have your victories, he lets you have your lows and your frustrations, especially when because it gets frustrating. Pushing to get better can get frustrating, especially when you're up against a wall. And there's many times the end of relief is like he hits a wall and it's frustrating beyond measure, and he sits right there. He doesn't tell you that, it doesn't matter or whatever. He's like, he sits there. He's like, all right, feel that. And then let's figure out a way to get past that, So I think that is something that's just remarkable, from him. And then I think the third thing is just like the belief and positivity that he has. It's just like, it's unequivocal belief that you can do whatever that you want to do. Right. And it's kind of what we talked about with like teachers and stuff like that. These teachers that kind of encourage us, right? It's like, it's not hard to have a dream, but it's hard to believe in yourself reaching that dream a lot of times, especially when you can't visualize how you're going to get there. And a person that's going to put you in position to do that, and a better position to do that, but also to continue to push you and encourage you when you don't see that clear path, is invaluable. And I think him as a sensei does that so often, especially for Rock Lee, right? Where it's like, okay, you're instead of you focusing on, he could have let Lee focus on not being able to do genjutsu, not being able to do ninjutsu. It's like, okay, instead of focus on what you can't do, right? Focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you're not good at. I'm going to focus you on just what you can do. And even though you're not that good at that, we're going to maximize that until you're so good that you won't even need or think about the things you don't have or that you can't do. And if anybody wants to question you on that, I'm a dynamic entry on that and lay a beat down on them just for you, right? And that is like I said, man, it's just like the greatest thing you could have is a feeling where it's like you are unequivocally supported, no matter what you do, as long as you keep striving, they're going to keep supporting you. And he teaches them to never just compromise on your morals, never compromise on your goals. And I think if more people had that kind of self-belief and that person that pushed them into that kind of self-belief to like, don't compromise on your morals or your goals, then we'd be in a better place as a society, right? But again, like I said, it's not that common. But again, I think that's the most remarkable thing about him is he just, like I said, teaches you just never focus on the negative and to always focus on simply the things that you can do and maximizing that. And that is hard to do. But he's a master of making you believe that is possible and that it's all within your power to make happen.
Yeah, I agree a lot with my guy. I think, well, in general, I mean, Rock Lee, before Shippuden, Rock Lee was my favorite character, 100%. And
right.
being able to like train him to that level that it is, show stopping or whatever. And that's amazing. And just having a guy that can do that, that's already, crazy amount of points to him. But also, ingraining in Lee that like never give up mentality. He's had that from the beginning, and that had to have been from Guy. And so generally, he was super positive the whole time in the anime and in Shippuden. He was like super positive, super silly, and like that's all he cared about is just where can he bring happiness to,
right.
And even when he ended up trying to basically sacrificing himself for the whole village, the whole
right.
World almost,
World,
right?
Yeah.
It again, you can't find a better sensei that does that.
It's crazy. My guy was going to be my second choice, but then I was like, there's probably going to be a lot of Naruto choices, so I was like, let me go with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, my guy, like the springtime of youth, that's the thing. Yeah. He's so positive, so happy. He keeps things in perspective. He wants to be the best that you can be, and work towards that using your own abilities. So I just felt like that was he's a cool dude. I also wanted to learn a dynamic entry,
right?
And just do that, spam it like in the games,
right?
He's a great guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, and I think, and one last thing on him is I thought was really, really notable is like he doesn't have a father. He lost his father early, and in a again, father sacrificing himself to protect the rest of the team and obviously him too, and his father was a laughingstock, right? Like he wasn't respected or anything like that. And so this man also was not super talented and bossed his way up to Jonin, bossed his way up to the point where he's only person outside of main character toe to toe with Madara, right? Like ain't no one else even close to doing damage on this man. This man had cooked a whole army, and then my guy is the only one to actually do damage to him, right? So he goes from literally someone fatherless and talentless and no good genes. He got no Itachi, Uchiha genes. He ain't got no Hyuga clan genes. He has no Naruto Uzumaki clan genes. He has none of that going for him, right? He just has himself, and no, super, impactful sensei in his own life, and he becomes that for other people because that's a hole that he had to fill for himself, and he's now doing that for others. I think that's awesome. So yeah, again, wish he was a real person because I think he would do a lot of good things in the world, and I think more people like that. But I will aspire to try and be a little sliver of Mike. I don't think I can be quite as zesty, but but I'll try and be a little more Mike guy in my day to day. But Mike guy did try, and we tried today to deliver a good episode. But now it's time to be a little bit extra.
All right, extra time is of the essence. Let's get it rolling. We're starting off with some golf news. In case you missed it, the PGA Championship recently took place. The championship is one of golf's major tournaments. In this tournament, made up of only pro players, no amateurs allowed. So it's a competitive field. The tournament was ultimately won by American golfer Xander Schauffele, who, by the way, did so with historically low scores. But the main story that came out of the event was the legal troubles faced by one of the competitors. That competitor was none other than number one world-ranked golfer, American golfer, Scotty Scheffler. So he's no schmo when it comes to golf. He's the number one ranked for a reason, but he ran into some legal troubles. The event took place in Louisville, Kentucky, and on the morning of the second day of the tournament, there was a traffic accident that left one person dead at the scene. This was leading up to the entrance for the golf course, and so Scotty was driving up, and he was like, all right, the police were set up directing traffic. The stories are conflicting, but what was been reported is that Scotty drove up, disobeyed traffic laws, cut in line to try and get into the golf course faster, and that there was a policeman there who tried to stop him and was ultimately dragged by his car. And so the policeman got him to stop and was like banging on his window, got him to turn the car off, and then arrested him at the scene. So Scotty was in jail the morning of the second round. Luckily, he was able to get out before the second round started because the second round was delayed because of the accident. But he spent his time in jail stretching, just focusing on what he's going to do for the day. He ultimately finished 8th in the tournament. So, I mean, he didn't do too bad. So, but it was still kind of shocking that the number one ranked golfer was arrested at the tournament for some crazy reason, like dragging a police officer. Now, there was some video evidence that came out later that it showed that police officer wasn't necessarily dragged. In fact, it seems like the police officer ran up to the car after Scotty had made a turn into the golf course and just started banging on his window for no reason and then arrested him. So the officer in question, he didn't have his video or his body camera turned on. So he's actually been suspended by the police force because it's against the violations to not have his camera turned on. So we're getting conflicting information. It's a weird story all around. Scheffler faces 4 separate counts that could lead to jail time. So all in all, it's a messy situation. So we'll see how that goes. But I also wanted to follow up some more golf news. This is some saddening news. Recently learned that 2-time winner on the PGA Tour, Grayson Murray, recently withdrew from a tournament due to what was cited as an illness. It came later that he had passed away without any news on how. But now it's come out that he committed suicide. And I personally wanted to say that I myself have struggled with suicidal ideation and depression. And I want to relay that if you're not feeling yourself or have gone through something that has affected you, please get help. I used to think that people who were able to go through it with suicide were the bravest people of all. But now I know that's not the case. And the loneliness of doing it and so much selfishness of leaving others behind to pick up the pieces isn't the way. So please get help. I have a psychiatrist. And after years of resisting, I have a therapist. And I feel like the best I've felt in years. It's really helping me. So sorry for the morbid sidebar, but I felt it was important to get that out there. May is Mental Health Month. I think June is Men's Mental Health Month for some reason, but we continue on, livening up the mood. So in case you missed it, the 150th Kentucky Derby recently took place at Churchill Downs in Kentucky. I previously made my thoughts on horse racing known. I don't like it. But for those who enjoy it and betting on it, the race was won in a true photo finish by a horse named Mystic Dan. It was crazy. That photo finish was like that Futurama clip where it's no fair. You changed the results by measuring it. That's how close it was. But also taking place recently was the second leg of the Triple Crown in horse racing at the 2024 Preakness Stakes at Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore. Mystic Dan came close to staying alive for the Triple Crown, but ultimately finished second to race winner Seize the Gray. So congrats to the horses. If they don't get injured, they have an easy life ahead of them. So good for the horses.
Weird names.
In actual racing news, the biggest triple header in racing happened. That is the Monaco Grand Prix for Formula One, the Indianapolis 500 for IndyCar, and the Coke 600 for NASCAR. Each race had moments of entertainment and chaos and heartbreak, but there can only be one winner. In Formula One, Monaco native Charles Leclerc won his hometown Monaco Grand Prix. In IndyCar, American Joseph Newgarden won his second consecutive Indy 500, and along with that, like a $450,000 payday on top of the race check. So he made a lot of money for going back to back. In the NASCAR, driver Christopher Bell won a rain-shortened Coke 600. So congratulations to the victors. But finally, in huge news that I feel came out of nowhere, the NCAA, one of the stingiest organizations around, has opted to settle 3 ongoing antitrust cases against it that will change college sports forever. With a $2.8 billion settlement that will provide back pay to past college athletes up to 2016, it is suspected that schools will indeed be starting to pay students athletes for their participation. So it ends the much maligned word amateur for college sports. Now, this won't be much of a problem for big schools with deepest pockets, and it especially won't be a problem for the money-making sports like football and basketball. But one has to wonder what will happen to the small schools and the niche sports programs that may have like bowling or even pickleball. So I wanted to ask, capitalism, yay or nay? No. In all seriousness, this decision will have major ramifications for college sports. It may lead schools to raising outrageous tuition prices even more, or it could lead to the deaths of many universities, or some universities may say, fuck it, cancel all sports, maybe do something really unexpected and lower tuition. This is all speculation on my part, so we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But I just wanted to know, like, really, what are your thoughts on student athletes getting paid?
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit before too, and yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much in terms of their advertising. They're getting all this money, and yeah, like it's weird that the athletes wouldn't get any part of that, right? Like then it gets weird, right? Like if it wasn't advertised at all, and it was just a sports thing, and it was like nobody's getting money except for the school, the program to keep that whatever program alive, then right. I think, it's kind of just like Little League and stuff, rec or whatever. Like, right. Like you're not supposed to really get paid from that. But this is not that, right? Big schools get a lot of money. Big schools get most money. Some schools, that is their main income, which right. is crazy to me. It's like sports is the biggest check that you get. How do you call yourself a school? Right. Well, whatever. Right. I'm not too much a sports guy, so whatever. But in general, if they are making that much money and they're bringing that much money to the school, yeah, they definitely need a cut and pay them something. Damn, like, I mean, we think that like their tuition and all that other stuff is paid for too, right? You're saying they, I mean, but obviously they're doing so much that they even deserve more than that, than just, hey, we give you this couple grand. I'm kidding. But like we,
I was like, yeah, I was like, some of those is like 200K. I was like, that's not a couple of grand. I would say that.
but still, that was just like comparatively to like, okay, here's some professional, NBA that's bringing in all this crowd and bringing all this money, and they're making millions, right? So it's like, why isn't he? He's bringing same amount of fans, same amount of income to the school, but he doesn't get any of it, right? Yeah, agree. Some people do need to get paid.
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, yeah, it's difficult, especially for the bigger sports, right? Because I mean, the coaches are getting paid millions, so the person that's talking to you, teach you the way is getting paid multi-millions. You can't just be like, okay, well, the guy's executing the plan from the multi-millionaire gets zero, or even if you say the tuition is the pay, get what, 50K a year max, compared to their 4 million, which is crazy. So yeah, I think that's the struggle, and I think the answer to what they're going to do with it, to me, I don't know if this is what's going to happen. The answer, what I assume they're going to do, is that the payout is going to be different depending on the revenue that each sport creates. So I would assume pickleball and those sort of niche things don't create as much revenue, so they're probably not going to get paid much, if anything. And I would assume that my fear is that some of them won't get scholarships anymore, too. It's like, well, you're getting paid, so why are you getting a scholarship? So, which is valid, to be honest, So it's like, especially if you get paid, well over the tuition. I'm like, should you really, you're a millionaire now. Should you not be charged tuition? So it's like, it's kind of unfair to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's like, depending on the person, I think for sure some of them I think should be still charged tuition, to be honest. But again, and now it's going to make, I think, college sports so messy, because I mean, it's now just going to be like, okay, shopping around, 15-year-olds even, because how early recruiting starts anyway for a lot of these sports. So 15, 16-year-olds shopping around and like, hey kid, you want a cool 700K, you want a cool 100K, you want a Lambo really quick to come to our school, right? At like, whatever age. And then it's like, is that, I don't know, is that the mentality you want these kids to grow up with, that, there's a number attached to your value from an early age, and that's all you're worth? I don't know. I don't love that idea about it, and I do agree that they should get paid, and I do think it should just start when they get there. unless it's a enormous, and they do have NIL and all this stuff, and I think, like I said, if they're getting other endorsements outside of that, leave that alone, which I think the NIL already takes care of that. So I think that's now solved. But now, if you're talking about the school themselves, I think also that needs to start when they get there, and they need to at least try to find a way to negate any of that pre-recruiting, like money, which already happens. We already know it's already happened, but to hopefully try and limit that, because I think otherwise it just becomes Wild Wild West, and like now impossible to get parity in college sports now, because why would I go to, no offense to Pepperdine, or even go to, let's say, NC State if I'm getting a Duke offer for $5 million and State can only offer $1 million because that's all they can offer, So now it's like the parity is even a wider gap, and you're seeing so few now upsets, right? Even fewer upsets, even fewer competition. So I think it ends up I feel like it could end up being much worse for the sport on so many levels. Morally is my big concern, but even on the competitive side. And but we'll see. I don't know. I agree. I think they deserve to get paid, like you said. But I for sure think it'll be revenue based, and that's probably how it should be, because that's how everything else is in the real world. And yeah, we'll go from there. Sorry to pickleball and all the other people that don't get paid much, but I hope they at least get to keep their full scholarships. But yeah, if there's nothing else they want to add, then I'll kind of close it out. And
so what are your thoughts?
My thoughts?
Or that.
You don't want to hear my thoughts. No, I think the students should get paid. they deserve the money. They're putting their bodies on the line. Like some people should be. I think some people have the talent to go directly to pro sports, like
Right.
without going to college. I don't think they should be like. If they want to go to college, that's great. Get an education, like get it down the line, finish up the degree. But some of them do have that natural talent where they can probably just fit in, like in the NBA or NFL, as soon as they're out of high school. Like they may not be like super talented going against the big guys immediately, but I do think they have the talent to at least make the roster. So going to college and putting their guaranteed generational wealth at risk for injury because it's mandatory for some of these sports to go to college in the first place. Like, I don't think that's fair. And if they're bringing in all these audiences, all this money, this revenue to these stadiums that hold 100,000 people, like give them the money they deserve. Like, I also feel like they should. It's kind of a weird area about scholarships and being paid, but I know a lot of people work and have scholarships and go to school. I think they could do the same thing for them. So make it right for these students. Make it right for them to want to go to school, want to stay there longer, get their full degree, and go on to the pro level and dominate there. But I don't know. That's how I feel.
Sure. Yeah, I do. That's a good point. I do hope that it does encourage some more kids to go to college and hopefully take it serious. Maybe have some clauses in there about grades so they can actually take that somewhat serious. Some of them, and a lot of them, and a good amount of them do, but some we know need a little bit more education. Let's say that, because we hear too many bad stories of people ending pro sports and they end up just memes because of how terrible their lives get. Because they just don't have the knowledge base to know what to do with the money that they have, and manage the fame and those sorts of things, which is something I hope the schools will offer more of. But yeah, we'll close it out at that, and we appreciate you guys being with us again, procrastinating with us a little bit today, and hopefully we'll see you guys at the next con. I think we're going to shoot for BlurCon next. Maybe one after that. We'll see. Maybe we'll see. We'll see about Otakon. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys at the next con, and we'll see you guys in the comments, and maybe we'll see you around in general. So yeah, take care, guys, and thanks again for listening to us. Yeah.